Welcome to Let's Face the Facts, the rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Join us each week as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show. And now, here's your host of Let's Face the Facts, the wonderful David Almeida.
Thank you, Matthew Arter. Welcome back to another show. Thank you for downloading and pressing play. This week, Matthew and I are joined by our dear friend, Ali Flores. Ali is an actor. He is an improviser. He is a stand-up comic, and he doesn't just perform stand-up comedy, he also teaches it. So we thought, who better to join us on this week's episode because it deals with the art form of stand-up comedy. Before we start, a couple of little things. We have a bit of a disaster on our hands, people. As of September 1st, the Roku channel, who is notorious for rotating the seasons in and out of the Facts of Life, they're all gone now. There are no Facts of Life episodes available at all right now on the Roku channel. Thankfully, we do have the ability to watch them on Pluto TV. At the moment, it is only seasons 7 and 8. They are labeled wrong. They're in production order, not in broadcast order. So do not go by the numbers. Go by the titles if you do watch them on Pluto TV. So let's put aside our annoyance with the Roku channel and continue to focus on the positive, count our blessings that at least we have Daily Motion and, for the moment, Pluto TV. And both of those are free. Now let's get on to this week's show. Ali joined me and Matthew to watch Season 7, Episode 16, called The Agent. And the original air date was January 18th of 1986. I think we're ready to jump on in. Let's face the facts with Ali Flores. Ali Flores, welcome back.
Yay! It's been so long.
It has been. I actually did dig back and look to see when it was. It's been a year and a half since last we discussed this show on this podcast.
Holy cow, it's pre-COVID.
It was February of 2020. And I was going to say to you, so anything interesting happened since then?
No.
No.
I just got some FDA approved ivermectin. So I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Rock and roll, dude.
Yeah.
I wish you luck.
Thanks. It's part of the process, guys.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I was reminded when we got onto the Zoom call, I was like, Matthew, Ali, do you know each other? Of course, we were all part of the amazing entertainment team at the American Idol Experience. I was one of the field producers. Matthew was on the audition team. And Ali, you were the warm-up host.
Yes, I was the warm-up, the pre-show host. Go out, get the video clips, and then, come up and teach people how to vote. Mm-hmm. And then go backstage.
Teach tourists how to push a button that is underneath their hand already.
Yep, right there. It's like, okay, 1, 2, and 3. There you go. You're gonna.
But what if I like the second singer? Which button do I press?
Well, second would have a 2 in it. Just, I'm like, all right.
The fact that you did that job actually segues perfectly into, I'm thrilled that you're back here because you are a stand-up comic, as we discussed last time. That really was what made you so great as a warm-up host for the show. And so, Ali Flores, our stand-up friend, we're like, we have to have a professional's input on this Facts of Life episode.
Because my professional stand-up input is not enough, Ali. It's important for you to know that. I mean, my performances at the Orlando Improv, the Fort Lauderdale Improv, all over the country, that's not quite enough for David. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
I was going to say, in addition to Matthew, whose alter ego, Carol Lee, has also been featured many times on the stand-up stage. What a wonderful two-sided, two-handed, double-ended dildo of comic stand-up professionalism I have at my disposal for this episode. Thank you for being here, gentlemen.
You're about to get spit roasted by stand-up comedians, David.
Oh my God. By the way, that's our comedy tour is double-ended dildo. That's
because I'm going to join you. We're going to do it, the three of us, because clearly you can walk into a Spencer's Gifts, make a couple of funny quips, and you are goddamn Tonight Show level material.
According to the high school girl that works there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So with the two of you so experienced, I'm sure I will be able to walk and step right into that arena and no one will be able to tell the difference. They'll be like, wow, look at those three equally seasoned professional stand-up comics. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But we get ahead of ourselves. Let me do some nuts and bolts here. We're talking about Facts of Life, Season 7, Episode 16, called The Agent, which had an original air date of January 18th of 1986. It was written by Jack Ellenson. Jack Ellenson has been a writer in the past for the show. I feel like I didn't actually research him. His credits go all the way back to shows with the name like the All-Star Review and the infamous Colgate Comedy Hour.
Wow.
In 1952. He is a dawn of television veteran here. He worked on the Andy Griffith Show. He wrote for Gomer Pyle, Good Times, One Day at a Time. He would go on to develop 227. So this is the third of 3 Facts of Life episodes that he actually wrote. So this is the last one, his swan song, as it were. His first episode that he wrote was The New Girl Part 2. That was the second half of the episode that introduced us to Joe and literally reestablished the format of the show on the heels of Linda Marsh and Margie Peters, who wrote Part 1. He also wrote Brian and Sylvia. That's the backdoor pilot, Ali, about an interracial couple, a white dude and a black girl. And it starred a pre-MacGyver Richard Dean Anderson. And the girl didn't go on to do much else, but it was a pretty hideous, awful, vile, racist, offensive, and very unentertaining pilot. And they did not pick it up, obviously. And then now we have this of the 3 episodes he's written. We have this one, but let us not ignore that he also did write a TV movie that we are familiar with. The Facts of Life Goes to Paris.
Oh, well.
Oof.
Yeah, Matthew, you got it in one word. Oof. So Ali, last time you were here, like I said, February of 2020, we did A Royal Pain, the episode where they introduced us to the little princess Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have another sound or one-word review for that, Matthew?
Yeesh.
And
no, that one might even get a huh?
But that was one of the attempts to say, like, maybe we should introduce some younger girls and new personalities and think about the turnover that might be happening in the future of okay, bad idea. Get her out of there. Gone, go, goodbye. So yes, Ali, I believe it is now time for us to put our guest on the spot. If you would please give a 1 to 2 sentence synopsis of the entire episode, very brief, like something you might find in a TV guide. And I will warn you ahead of time, if you do give too long a synopsis, Matthew will judge and insult you. Okay. No pressure. Go.
Tootie decides to become an agent for an up-and-coming comedian who really likes being funny, does not like being forced to be a business major. Also, there are bad cookies.
Well done, sir. Does that get the Matthew Arter seal of approval?
I mean, it's longer than mine. That's not the first time I've said that to Ali. My synopsis was just Joe bakes cookies. That's all I got out of this one.
Oh, and we're going to talk about these fucking cookies, by the by.
Yes, I think we should.
We have words to be spoken out of my talk hole right now about those fucking cookies. So we ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. First of all, no George Clooney this week. That would have been lovely. Boo. We hate it when George Clooney isn't on the show. Do you remember, Ali, George Clooney being on the show?
Yeah, I do. Wasn't it kind of like, it was kind of his first thing. It was one of his first
ish. It was early Clooney, that's for sure. It wasn't his first thing, but it was one of the many initial attempts to try to find something that fit, because the network was like, we know this guy has got the special something. They just could not figure out what the right vehicle was. Well, boys, are we ready to tackle this piece of shit? Good to go.
I'm always so glad when we have, like, and I'm not being facetious or sarcastic, I'm always glad when we can give a platform to the straight male voice. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's underrated, and it doesn't get the mouthpiece, so to speak, especially when discussing something as very, very gay as facts of life.
So to you, Ali, and all of your kind, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yay.
Leave it to the gays.
Yes. So with this, we have an episode that takes place mostly in the store. Mrs. Garrett is still out of town. We don't talk about, we do talk about that she is with Beverly Ann. This is the first time they call her Beverly Ann, referring to the letter that Mrs. Garrett sends. And Joe and Blair are trying to put together the puzzle that is the riddle wrapped in an enigma that is how to bake a fucking peanut butter cookie. So that is a long, protracted source of drama. That is our B story, though, but we do need to talk more about it in a minute. And but the A story is that Tootie, after getting a bad review, decides she doesn't want to be an actress anymore. And when a charming, young, witty fellow comes into the shop, he is a MBA business student, I assume at Langley. It's the college in town. Because he's so witty and funny, and he does mention that he has dreamed about, it would be fun to be like a stand-up comic, standing in a room full of people and making them laugh. Ding! Tootie has a brilliant idea. She is going to become his manager. So she takes him on. She somehow makes contact with the booking agent for the Tonight Show, who shows up to a talent night they arrange at the store at Over Our Heads, and watches this comic and says, he's really good. He's not ready. Maybe someday in the future. And with that, Tootie says, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be a manager. And I'm going to go back to trying to be an actress. I'm going to try to fight my own fight, run my own marathon, as she says. And the episode is over.
Well, this was a fun podcast.
Good
Thanks
time.
for being here, Ali.
Bravo.
Bravo.
So, yes. So we can now kind of go back and Ali, as the guest, did you make notes? What is the first thing that you want to bring up and discuss in detail?
First thing, I am not a baker by any means. I'm not a baker. I like to cook. I like to create some things, but I'm not a baker. I've never really been. I don't own baking pans. I don't own anything. But I can fucking make cookies.
Yeah, thank you.
They're so. It's not rocket surgery. It's just cookies.
No. But by the way, Joe and Blair, you have been working in the cafeteria of Eastland School for Girls, feeding 200 girls 3 meals a day, allegedly, for what, 4 years now? Seasons 2, 3, and 4, 3 years at Eastland School, and then seasons 5 and 6 at Edna's Edibles, where you were fucking rolling out croissant dough. And you can't figure out a peanut butter cookie, a half a cup of peanut butter, half a cup. And Blair says, yeah, half, it's the 1 and the 2 with the line between them. And the joke, thank you, awful writers, is, oh, I guess I didn't see the line. You put 12 cups of peanut butter into a singular batch of cookies.
And thought that was okay. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And here's the deal. You have to be trying to fuck up a cookie. They may come out a little bit burny. They may come out the wrong shape. They may cook on the bottom, but not on the top. They may turn out doughy, but it's very difficult to make a disgusting, inedible cookie.
Now, not me, a friend has had some cookies that aren't the best, that taste a little like weed.
Oh yeah, your friend. I've heard.
Even those cookies are still good.
Yeah. Again,
I would never. But oh my God.
No, a cookie is like sex. Even when it's bad, it's still, you're still gonna swallow it.
Exactly. God, I love you so much for saying that. My girlfriends do that.
Yeah. But this B story is egregiously unacceptable.
And it's the reactions of the people on how bad these cookies are. They're not that bad. Like realistically, it would have been a little too much peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
and is there such a thing as too much peanut butter? Like I would have taken like a teaspoon of salt or a half a teaspoon of salt. Oh, I missed the thing. So you put 12 teaspoons of salt into these, then they are unedible.
There you go.
12 cups of peanut butter are just going to make them more delicious.
Agreed.
These are called peanut butter explosion cookies. Oh, yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, agreed.
Wow. It was like, oh my God. Now the kid that comes in to taste the second time, what's his character's name?
Andy.
Holy God. Could they get a whiter kid for this? Like I felt like he was fresh out of like White magazine. Like this is it. This is what we need. With the shoulder over the shoulder, thing and the sweater and the whole thing and his haircut, the totally late 80s, early 90s haircut. It was great. But his reaction as well was like, oh my God, people, they can't be that bad. They wouldn't have risen because they look good.
Yeah, exactly. The prop cookies looked like Matthew, you are so right. The salt, that could have been a thing. And even then say, well, guess what? Guess we're having a special on salt cookies. It's like saltwater, call them saltwater taffy cookies or something.
Throw some caramel chips on them. No, it's salted caramel cookies.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't know to do that. They've never been in a kitchen before. What is this measuring cup thing?
What?
Did you see my favorite part of the episode was when she goes to pick up the cookies to take them back into the kitchen?
Yes.
And she picks up one that falls on the table. She picks it up and puts it back because it's clearly a prop cookie. And then one of them drops on the floor and she does not pick that one up. She just lets it go. I love that. Like, no, the director wasn't like, okay, well, you dropped a cookie and left it, so we should probably retake that. They're like all in a fucking day. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, we're on the clock. Let's go.
We just got to get through this. Come on.
Moving on. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Facts of Life ever heard this. You know what? I could do that better. Let's try that again. I think that was ever said on set on Facts of Life.
Oh my God, that's going into the archives as one of the greatest quotes ever on this podcast.
Agreed. Agreed. Wow, Ali.
So we've established the cookies. Can we also ask, and I say this because you know how I feel about Tootie. Not how I feel about Kim Fields, but how I feel about Tootie. Has she ever gotten a good review for her acting?
Has she ever been a good actress? You're right.
We're led to believe by the movie that she has somehow become a famous actress. Like, I mean, every review is that she's a terrible actress.
Yeah.
From this one, there was a review a couple weeks ago where she was suicidal over it, and later, the one, what's her pussy? Where
Eleanor. Eleanor.
Where she played Eleanor, she gets a terrible review.
Yeah, playing Eleanor Roosevelt. Great casting. Well,
but I will say this. the funniest line in the entire show, the entire episode, especially dealing with the comedian. But the funniest line was the review itself. I loved that review. We were just sad that the fire wasn't real. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. When Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. Yes.
All I could think about were the great zingers that like Philip Nolan, Simon Needham would say at American Idol. I was like, oh, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Agreed. Oh, I was like, well done. That was good.
But such a layered joke, because now we're supposed to believe that Tootie was playing Joan of Arc, for Christ's sake. And that whole line, you're absolutely right. That was a great line.
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
That was good. Good
but
one.
When you have a total stranger come into your shop and start talking like this kid did, I'm out already. I'm like, okay.
And this is where the writing failed. The writing and directing failed, because when you're funny, quote unquote funny, you're not always funny. Most real comedians are pretty much introverted. They're not on all the time. And he just came in like waka waka. Like I wanted his name to be Fozzie. Like I really did. Like he just dun 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 dun. Like he just comes in, blah blah blah. I was annoyed. I'm like,
yeah. And he's clearly doing material. It's not like he's just naturally being funny about like, oh, what kind of candy you have? Like he's not pulling anything out. It's like, hey, I'm going to ask this question so I can set up a joke. And I was out like 2 minutes into him being there. Yeah.
And it was obviously, it was so obvious that the directors and the producers, especially during the audition process, which Jeff Joseph is a good actor. I've seen him in so many things. He's done a lot. He's a good actor. He's funny. He's a good guy. But you could tell it was that cheesy, over the top direction, and that those shows were doing at that time. And they're like, you're a little too real. We don't need that in television. Let's camp it up. Let's camp it up.
Yeah.
And Tootie, of course, he did do very well with the script he was given. I will say that. Like, I mean, it was just a painful script and the lines he was given to say. And he did do, honestly, I think, as best he could with what he was given.
Yes.
So I'm not mad at the actor at all.
No, this is one of those roles where he goes back and talks to his family. He's like, I'm going to be on this. I'm on this. But this one, he's like, what do you got going on tomorrow? Nothing. Some grocery shopping. I'm going to go on set for something.
Yeah. But the thing is, he is very appealing. Absolutely. And the only thing that one could give Tootie a pass for is she does say very quickly, hits upon it where she's like, well, he's funny and he's charming. And okay, he's kind of cute. Why didn't they make it that at the end when they're kind of parting ways, why didn't they make it that like, well, okay, well, maybe we could grab dinner sometime. And she's like, really? You want to do dinner? And he's like, a girl that thinks all my jokes are funny? Yes.
I think because she's 16.
But he's a grad student, isn't he? He's not a college student, guys. He's a grad student. Yeah. And Tootie is not 16, Matthew. Tootie is 18.
According to the new Folk You, David, she is now 16.
The Facts of Life cinematic universe, the Folk You.
Yeah.
We de-aged Tootie 1 year back in season 4, Ali.
Here we go. Oh, God.
And 2 weeks ago, they did it again. So Tootie, who should be 18, had been downgraded to 17. And now she is 16. God damn it.
I am so sorry, dear listeners. I apologize for even broaching the subject of one of the girls' ages.
Did they think they were going to try to make this a Simpsons episode where they're all the same age all the time? Like they just...
In the early days, who knows? The producers were just like, we're going to put these girls in tight little hip huggy jean shorts and titty tops until they don't fit into them anymore. I don't really know that they had any game plan.
Just like 80s sitcom, it didn't matter. It was arbitrary what their ages were at this point. It was whatever the story needed, just like the Golden Girls. Sometimes Blanche was in her 50s and sometimes she was not. So
sometimes Blanche had 2 children, sometimes she had 6. Yeah.
I always felt that like 80s TV, 80s and 90s, early 90s TV wasn't really about the story. It was how can we push the hair and the style? Like, it's just, look, we're going to have, like, oh my God, Natalie's shoulder pads in her jacket.
Oh,
I thought she was going to tackle someone. Like, they were huge. Boom, just out. I thought she was going to put eye black on and ready to go. It's like, oh my God, it's just all about the fashion. What's it look like? This. All right, get our costumes out there.
And ridiculous to see now, but admittedly, they did look amazing at that time. I mean, so it's like watching the Brady Bunch and you're like, oh, nice plaid shirt, Greg. And, but one thing that made me laugh, his name is Robert Davis. The comedian's name is Robert Davis. That's my grandpa's name.
Shut up.
No.
That's great.
Did
he go by Bobby as well? Did somebody make him change it to Bobby?
Nope, it was Bob. And I was 14 until I realized his actual first name wasn't Jesus Christ, because that's how my grandmother referred to him every time she referred to him. It was Jesus Christ, Bob. And I remember being asked what your grandpa's name was, and I said, it's Jesus Christ, Bob. And
but
anyway,
let's quickly touch upon, we already talked about Jeffrey Joseph, the actor who plays the charming but not very funny comic. He actually is still out there. He's still working. And like Ali said, he's got a lot of credits as an actor. He does also do stand-up. I found some of it on YouTube and the sound quality is so awful, I can't really tell if it's any good. It's hard to say, but he is on TikTok, Jeffrey Joseph Comedy. If you want to follow him, this actor is still out there, 48 acting credits in a 38-year career and still ongoing, still working out there.
I was wondering about that because like we've wondered this before with when Jerry Jewell was on, if the stand-up portion of the show was actually written by Jerry Jewell or if the writers gave her that. So I was wondering if this was his stand-up act because, I mean, it was 1986 and I mean, he's full on doing race humor. I mean, you know what I mean? Like a very G-rated Eddie Murphy race humor. Like, so
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it was not his material because of his delivery. The delivery was, for me, like I teach stand-up. So one of my biggest things is it's got to be from you. It's got to be your stuff. You can't one of my exercises I tell my students, like, this is your homework for the week. Go get 3 minutes of your favorite comedian, write it out verbatim, and then perform that for me. But I don't want to see an impersonation. I want to see it like you got a script. This is your act and just do it your way. And I said, nobody killed it. I said, you had proven material, but nobody killed it. Why? It's not yours. You didn't hone it. This wasn't yours. It didn't come from your bones. So his performance, especially in the beginning, was I'm reading someone else's script. And I was like, oh, this is why this doesn't work, because it's not someone's act. This is a writer throwing in what they think a stand-up comedian should say. And I was like, this is falling flat.
Yeah. That's such an excellent point, Ali. Thank you for that.
Well, continuing with this instruction of stand-up, I listen to a lot of podcasts of stand-up people, and I've heard the same thing. It has to come from you, and the journey to the material coming from you is a long one. The fact that this is his first or possibly second time ever getting up in front of an audience, that Jim McCauley, actually the real Jim McCauley, who is the real booking agent for The Tonight Show at this time, says he's good, but he needs a lot more seasoning. And Tootie says, how much more seasoning? And he says, a year or two, maybe 3 or 4. That seems to be very short. What I've heard from like Dana Gould, Aisha Tyler, and those people that I've heard like the magic number is 7.
Oh, it used to be 10. It used to be 10.
Oh, really?
10 years in. Lewis Black used to always say, he goes, "You're not funny until you're 10 years in."
Wow.
But with the invention of, the internet and social media and YouTube especially, and now TikTok, comedians are doing essentially getting stage time a lot more than back in the day. Like, and that was the point. That was the reason 10 years is like, you need to be on stage so much. You need to be performing so much. But now, hell, there are comics that are getting specials and it's their second year.
Yeah.
Stand up.
But it's also, I feel like with TikTok, these people become famous for 90-second clips. And then it's like, oh, you don't actually have real talent. Like, you have no understanding of how to hold a room. You have no understanding of how to interact with an audience because you've been talking to your phone.
Basically, it's your Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours is what it is. How it kind of.
And to Matthew's point, let's go to the comics that are out there on TikTok right now.
Yeah.
The actual comedians that are doing stand-up now have more of a platform now, so that they can hone their act. So they're also doing it live, but then they take 3 minutes on TikTok. You could do a 3-minute act and put it on TikTok and actually hone it and keep going. However, there are the people that Matthew was talking about that are just TikTok famous or YouTube famous. And then comedy clubs book them. Why? Because they have millions of followers and they know they're going to sell seats. Mm-hmm. So I was at the Improv and I was performing and they brought in this comic to do 10 minutes. And he was an internet famous comedian. He had like 4 or 5 million followers on YouTube and boom. And the place had a lot of people there for him. He was awful. Like, I'm like, this guy isn't a stand-up. Like, he's internet famous and that's great, but he's not a stand-up. And somebody told me, he goes, yeah, he's a chef. He's internet famous because of a chef. He does a cooking show. That has nothing to do with comedy.
Yeah, you're like, what am I doing on stage with this guy? Jesus.
I was like, oh my God, dude, what? And that's the thing. Like, people can get internet famous for their little clips, but you put them in front of an audience and you put them on stage with actual material, they have no clue.
Yeah.
They have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah. Broader skill set. It's a much broader skill set than you realize.
And I didn't realize that social media and followers had transferred and gone over to film. I did that movie a couple years ago called The Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey, Zac Efron. And I'm sitting there talking to the director and he was like, yeah, man, I'm glad we went with you. You were really funny. A couple of the producers wanted to go with this other guy because he had a huge following on Instagram. He had 10 million followers on Instagram. And we know we'll sell tickets. And I go, does that matter now? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been hearing this too. Yeah.
They're about equal. Like, I could go with either one. If one has a lot of followers, that person's going to get the gig because they're going to promote the movie. And I went, wow. Yeah. So with that being said, my TikTok is A_Ali_Flores. Let's get that going.
Get on that, people. My tens of listeners are going to wait till you see the uptick.
Are we just going to ignore the fact that Ali just said he was on a set with Zac Efron?
Let's talk about it. What are the stories? Please tell me you're in the locker room. Showering.
I don't want to make you feel even worse, but I held hands with Zac Efron for about an hour.
Motherfucker. What does he smell like?
He smells like butterflies.
Oh, I knew it. If he smells like butt or flies, I wouldn't mind if he smelled like butt.
Wow.
He was great. I shot this movie called The Beach Bum, which was an awful movie. Detergents leave behind a better film. It's awful. Zach, and the stars in this movie should have been huge. It's Matthew McConaughey, Zac Efron, Isla Fisher, Jonah Hill, Snoop Dogg, I'm like, these are big name people that, and it grossed, I think, a little over $1 million the first weekend.
Oh,
And then just died.
What was he wearing when you held his hand? What was he wearing?
He was in costume.
Okay. What was the costume?
He was like a stoner guy. We were all in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So he had like this stoner skater type vibe outfit. And it's crazy because I was in Miami the night before. I was supposed to be on set, and I get a call in the morning. They're like, "Hey, could you get here now?"
Yes, Zach, I'm on my way.
I'm like, I guess. Why? Well, the director wants you to put you in more scenes. I'm on my way. So I get there, and literally they rush me from my car, sign my contract, give me the hair and makeup and wardrobe, and boom, they take me out. I meet Matthew McConaughey. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna be doing the scene with this guy all day. We're gonna be doing some stuff." Like, great. And I get to set, and they're about to do the Serenity Prayer, and they're micing me up, and the director's like, "Ali, say whatever the hell you want. You're improviser. You do what you want. Matt and Zach have been told to go. They'll play whatever you want to do." So I get it, and I'm sitting there, and they put me right next to Zac Efron. They're like, "All right, everyone, we got to go hold hands. We're going to do our prayer." So we're holding hands, we're doing this stuff. And I was like, I don't know this prayer. Shit. So I'm sitting there and we're talking and we're doing this. So after about 4 takes, Zach looks at me and goes, "I'm Zach, by the way."
Hi.
"Hey."
I love you.
I said, "Hey," I said, "I'm Ali." And he goes, "I figured since we're holding hands this much, you should know who I am."
oh my
I said,
God.
"That's great, man."
So what was he wearing?
In my mind, nothing.
Oh, well, yeah.
Wow.
But like, I was like, "You have the softest hands." I said, "These are nice. They're good hands." He goes, "I don't know if that's a compliment." And I go, "No, it is. It means you moisturize, you take care of yourself. It's nice." He goes, "It's a weird conversation." I go, "A little bit."
So was he in a tank top?
No, it was like baggy skater clothes, and he had like
was he shirtless?
No, he wasn't shirtless.
Was he barefoot? Was he barefoot?
No, it was not barefoot.
Nah, I'm out. Okay.
Wow, that's good. It's amazing since we've all worked together. Matthew, you and I are now 1 degree of separation away from Zac fucking Efron.
Well, thanks to a certain piece of paper, I'm not allowed to be within 500 yards of him. But
oh no, I'm really sorry to hear.
Well, I refer to that time in my life as the incident. So anyway, but thank you for that. I'm gonna put that in the spank bank if you don't mind.
Wow.
Real quick, forgive me. Did I miss the fact that did we talk about you should be a comedian? I'll be your agent. You're in high school, Judy. You are a senior in high school. Why is anyone listening to a word you have to say? I know people. I can make calls, and I'm gonna make you a star. Bitch, you are in high school.
Getting bad reviews. And I don't know, just like we talked about Tootie's confidence, and I wish I had some Tootie confidence. I do. But you are a child. I have wrote down several times throughout the episode. Why is anyone listening to you? Anyway, okay. So I just want to make sure we discuss that. Yeah, we needed to discuss that because that was something that I was like, isn't she in high school? Like, what?
It's funny. I kind of lost sight of that because I was more thinking, why didn't we make this? I guess he needed to be younger. He needed to be a college student, not a grad student. But I was looking at this going, he is charming and attractive, and she's right that he's cute. But yeah, you're right. That would have been so creepy wrong. So my brain was elsewhere. I'm always trying to play the romantic angle.
Now, out of all the things that they got right about comedy and how it works,
but there was anything they got right? Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, I have met every booker within the first or second time I've performed.
Oh, okay. Good.
I'm really good friends with Jimmy Kimmel's booker. All of them, all the biggies. I know. Second time I performed at Best of British, 12 years ago. I got connected with all of them. So that's the one thing they got right.
Okay, good.
The other thing they got right is when you're booking a talent show, a showcase for a comedian, you always only book that one comedian.
Yeah, never an opening act, never something to warm them up, never an actual professional in the field to at least set the tone. And yeah, your irony is not lost on us, Ali. It's crazy. But they did have an opening act. They had Sonny Del Vecchio, the juggling bag boy from the local supermarket.
But his material was his, though. I mean,
It was. This is actually the juggler. And it's funny, they call him Sonny Del Vecchio, which I think is a great, funny name.
That is also the name. Tony Del Vecchio is the character that Cesar Romero played on Golden Girls when he dated Sophia.
I knew something. I was like, that sounds like somebody else's name. I know Del Vecchio. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like it's also come up on Laverne and Shirley or Happy Days because it's.
I wonder if there's a Del Vecchio family in like the biz that everybody knows, and they're like, "We're gonna make him Del Vecchio."
Yeah, it's all about the Del Vecchios. Italian names are fun. They're very fun and funny.
Great.
Comedy gold.
They're great to say.
Yeah. So the actual juggler is an actual juggler, of course. Like you said, his material was his. This was not something scripted or created by someone else. It is Tyler Lincoln, Linkin. And Tyler Lincoln, this is his only IMDb credit, period. He is a stand-up comic, a writer, and a juggler. He's based out of Las Vegas now. He's still out there. Visit tylerlincoln.com. And he has a YouTube channel showing some of his entertainment and, special event work, all juggling based. And his YouTube channel handle is Stand Up Guy.
Can I say there's another time I would have been out that happens in the first 10 minutes when Tootie's like, we need to change your name. Robert Davis isn't funny. Bobby the funny comedian. I'm out. You're the worst agent I've ever fucking met. This is Carol Lee, the blonde drag queen. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Thank you. The funny comedian. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
And fuck this guy, because he's supposed to be a business major. Yeah. And I'm like, motherfucker, you should have known that shit.
Yeah. And why couldn't you market yourself? Why couldn't hello?
Meanwhile, your opening act is Sonny, the juggling bag boy Del Vecchio. That's it.
I will say this: I was a little frightened that it was going to be just an extra. That they were sitting there going, "Can anyone juggle? Can anyone do something?"
Oh my god!
And so that he was doing the 3, and I went, "Most people can do that. You know, if you can juggle, you can do 3, but you don't do anything." And I went, "Uh-oh, it's just." And then he did the cabbage or the lettuce on his head, and I went, "Okay, he's an actual juggler." I was like, "Okay, that's good."
He wasn't just juggling 3 things, Ali. He was juggling an orange, a grapefruit, and a head of lettuce.
Yeah. So I put it on his head.
Yeah. But I see what you did there. But yeah, no, 3 different size things, and you're juggling them. Holy fuck. But anyway, yeah, actually his act on YouTube, they are better produced videos than our dear friend Jeffrey Joseph. And his stuff is pretty funny. It's kind of like, okay, it's that, book him as entertainment for your convention or, sales meeting or whatever. And it's quite delightful. He's very fun and funny. What else?
Okay, I have a problem with the fact that they come in and first of all, Tootie's wearing a hat. It's always, and that's a sitcom thing, isn't it? The way people are just so fully clothed at home. Like, I don't know about you, but when I get home, it's down to pretty much nothing. Like, I mean, I'm not sitting around with my vest on, my high heels, my pantyhose, and my hat, Tootie. Thank you. But Natalie comes in and goes, we've got signs up in every store for our comedy night. What store is going to be like, yeah, advertise for your store in my front window? Sure. Yeah. Please put up a sign in my window that will get people to your shop. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Nat. Tack it on up. You need some tape? But my problem is it's like you're having a comedy night, and this is just me personally. You're having a comedy night. Okay. Have some milk and cookies, everyone.
We're going to sell a lot of cookies.
Yeah.
Make it a 2-cookie minimum. Yeah, that way we can unload all these shitty, awful cookies that we seem to suddenly be incapable of baking. Yeah. Ay, 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 ay. Just getting back to his actual act. We're saying it's in generalities about his act is not good out there. Talking about the race humor that he's doing. He's talking about being the first Black man to go to prep school. And he says, so I walk in and they're all, what? What's this guy? I'm pretty sure I ordered a Negro. That's the punchline. And then he talks about the radio station at his school, WASP, brought to you by Anglo Sheen. And then he does a white person rap. Oh, rap in the 80s. Talk about your staple in any stand-up comic. I'm going to do a rap about being a shoe salesman or a juggling grocer.
My favorite part about that is that he goes, have you heard of this rap? Do you guys know what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. But I did love the way he like stopped him. He's like, stopped him. And he's like, no, I can already tell that's white people clapping. You're clapping like, look for the union label. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean,
yeah.
You do that in your act, Matthew. You do that. No, not on 1 and 3, dear.
Right.
No, on 2 and 4.
We don't clap on the 1 and the 3.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was, I kind of dug his material, a little bit of his material. Like I did like the part of, because I knew where it was going with it was, he wasn't Black enough. Because he talks the way he talks. He's like, I believe we ordered a Negro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, I get that. And I liked, the rap. I kind of dug what he was doing. But again, he's not a comedian. And also, this is where they get it way wrong. If it's your second time, you've got 5 minutes at best.
Yeah.
You're not headlining. You're not doing 45 to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do a showcase with one person, and he's got 5 minutes of comedy. 2 minutes, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's your showcase? That's your thing.
Technically, for the show, I do credit it, and I did put in my notes. At the very least, they did the spin screen in between a couple of units of the stand-up. So the spin screen implies a passage of time.
Yeah.
Because the thing I love, one of my favorite sitcom tropes is the sitcom talent show, where they spend the first 20 minutes planning and preparing it so that in the end, when the big show finally happens, it's about 8 minutes long and everyone's applauding like they've just sat through Les Mis or something. And we've had it on this show. But at the very least, there was a sense of passage of time. It's like, okay, so supposedly there is more material in between these bits that is supposed to be of comparable quality. And yeah, but you're right. The fact that to be a headliner, to build up, again, the 10 years to just even find your voice, let alone put together an hour of material, that is
tight. That's tight, not full of ums, not tangents, not everything. There's no way. There's no way in hell that he went up and did a show.
So many, I don't think a lot of people, because stand-up is such a saturated art form, I feel like, I don't feel like a lot of people appreciate or understand what goes into it and what it takes to be good at it. This company in Detroit wanted to do America's favorite stand-up drag queen. And they wanted to film it and they begged me to do it. And I was like, absolutely not. Because the way it was set up was they were like, registration is at this time. They were doing it like a drag pageant almost. It was like, registration is at this time where you will get your topic.
Oh,
and
no.
I said, they're not looking for a stand-up. If they're going to give you your topic the day of, these are already people that don't understand what they're looking for or what stand-up is. Like Joan Rivers would hone for years, 10 minutes. Like she would show up at a club in New York and take a 2:00 open mic in the morning and get up there and be like, I'm just trying new material. And just pull out cards and try new material until the day she fucking died. So, and I was so frustrated when they see Ellen's or when they see Fortune Feimster's Netflix special. Yes, it sounds like that's the first time she's done that material, but she has been doing that material for years. So I don't think people appreciate what goes into being a stand-up.
I get them all the time. I get them all the time in my class. They're like, I go, all right, let's talk about what we're going to do. If you're going to be a storyteller, a standard joke teller, topical, whatever. And I'll get students that are like, and I'll ask them to write out a personal story. I said, I need you to write me a personal story, something that happened for you, grade school, personal story that happened. And I'll get them and I go, where's your thing? Oh, I just put the bullet points. I know this story. I go, nope. That's the assignment. You have to write it out. No, I know how to tell it. I guarantee you fucking don't. Yeah. You know how to tell it to your friends and family, and they appreciate it and are very lenient with you and aren't going to go, I'm fucking bored. Don't know how to tell it on stage. One of my favorite stories, I think it was Christopher Titus. He talked about it when he first started. He was in high school and he's working at a club, at like a Catskills, like a Poconos type of resort as like a busboy. Like he was just cleaning dishes and he saved enough money to go to the comedy show. And he saw the comedian and he said he was dying. And he did 15 minutes of crowd work and improv with the audience. And he said it was hilarious. So much that he used the rest of his money to get the ticket for the very next show that same night. I just wanted to see what he was going to do for that improv. It was the same 15 minutes. And I go, exactly. We make it look like we're just coming up with it. A lot of our ad libs, maybe the first time was an ad lib on stage. We did it once and went,
note to self,
it's fucking happen again. And I need to make it happen again organically, try to figure out a way to sell it as if that was organically done. And but everything is planned. Everything is written and studied and worked out. The beats, the pauses, the punchline, the inflection, everything.
To the point where it doesn't matter what they say. When I ask them where they're from, they could say any one of the 50 states or any country across the world. And my response is going to be, I'm sorry. And when they say it again, I go, oh, no, I heard you. I'm just sorry. That is one of the oldest crowd work things in the history of comedy. But it doesn't matter what they say to me. I already have a bag of tricks that I'm going to pull from. I've got jokes about a doctor. I've got jokes about a real estate person. It's a bag of tricks that we pull from, but the trick is making it sound organic. That's why I love the line. It just comes so naturally out of you. Does it, Tootie? Does it come naturally? That's it. Okay.
It's like 99. We've gotten camera 1,000 times.
Oh God. Yeah.
I've got 99 jokes for camera. I'm not coming up with a new one every time.
No.
Oh, camera? Got it.
Yeah.
And the understanding that we all have, it's computer. This means Evie Starlight's going last, and she's going to use the hook up with your servers joke because that's the one that fucking kills. Yeah. And we all know that theatrically, this is where this needs to go to give her that fucking laugh.
All right, gentlemen, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, and I'm looking through my notes here going, we covered a lot of what's already here. Let's get some final thoughts. I will start. Not a very good episode. What my peripheral understanding of stand-up comedy as an art form knows is that this is dead wrong. And, granted, it may be asking too much of a group of comedy writers in a writer's room in a sitcom to understand the world of stand-up comedy. What possibly could they know about it, and how could we expect them to? Really? So for that reason, I chalk it up to ignorance and not malice, and I give this episode a very low B-, high C+. Wow. Matthew, your final words.
I think, again, it is a fun, out of non sequitur, 1980s sitcom episode. Wackiness ensues. And Tootie is just, especially at the end, when Tootie is like, I've ruined an actor's career. It's all or nothing with her. And she's just, the character's just reeking of immaturity because it's like, I've gotten one bad review. I'm never going to be an actress again. And then, oh, this guy isn't being booked on the Tonight Show. I've ruined a man's career. Fuck off, Tootie. Like, go back to senior. Don't you have some biology homework or something to do? So that was my only real complaint about it, was that Tootie, like, nobody set Tootie straight. Like, nobody said, isn't this going to interfere with, high school being this person's agent? So whatever. Yeah. But a fun 80s sitcom episode, like all of season 7.
Mm-hmm. And Ali, anything else and final thoughts?
I love the fact that Jim McCauley was there, and we didn't touch on this, on how she got a hold of him by just going through the fucking phone book. Mm-hmm. Hollywood 411 information. Can I have the number for Johnny Carson?
Yeah, exactly. But she did do some detective work. She happened to read an article about him flying back home. So she thought, well, he's probably from New York. And if he's staying at his parents' house, then, because he's in show business, of course you'd stay at your parents' house. You wouldn't stay at a hotel on the dime of the network. Yeah. So she called and claimed to be his cousin. So speaking of more hilarious race humor, Tootie saying she's his cousin. And that's the pretense upon which he takes a train or drives to Peekskill and goes there. And it's like, okay, I kind of lied to get you here. I'm not your cousin.
I don't know about you, but David, but I do read Variety just so I can find out what the booker from the Tonight Show is going to be doing this weekend. I love that he got a full fucking article in Variety about his trip home.
She's lucky. It was a slow week. She was lucky, really.
That he was there, and they had to raise the stakes somehow. Mm-hmm. But the ridiculousness of the fact that she can get a hold of him and convince him to be there, set up this show. She's a senior in high school. It was just a fantastical episode. Everything was just fantasy. The fact that they can't make cookies, the fact that we've got a comedian that's getting a shot for the Tonight Show, and this is only his second time. The fact that they put together a show, the fact that Joe plays the piano. It just,
do not get me started on that, but continue.
Just all of it. So in the 80s, I would have given this episode a solid B. Mm-hmm. But right now, this is D. This is D material. This is it's this D worst. This is if it weren't for the fact that I was doing this for the podcast, I would not have finished the episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just like, I can't.
Yeah. I think I'm going to, I said a low B- and a high C. I'm going to go back up to the B- because you pointed out something interesting, Ali. Nothing made sense in this episode. Everything was off. There wasn't anything that wasn't a WTF moment. What is happening here? This is preposterous. So maybe looking at it as just a literal insanity fever dream from a bygone decade.
Are you implying that Andy doesn't get his mail delivered to that house? Like at the beginning when he walks in and goes, mail call, and most of the mail is for him?
Yeah, exactly. And
you don't live there, Andy. Indoors with his sweater tied around his shoulders, like you do, Just like Tootie with her hat on. Yeah. Just sitting around with a hat.
The point about Andy just there, you don't live there. This is something, my favorite all-time television show of all time is Cheers. I think it still holds up. It's brilliant. However,
even after the Me Too movement, you're still on board with Cheers?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I love it. But here's the thing. Everyone considers the bar home. They go on dates. I'll pick you up here. We pick you up there. We meet there. I'm like, don't you fuckers have a house?
Yes.
Nobody goes to the bar. Nobody comes straight from the vacation to the bar
with their luggage. Exactly. They've got their fucking luggage.
Away. It's like,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
God, sitcoms are just so amazing. And we accepted it. We just took it. They were like, absolutely. Been on a plane for 16 hours. Go to the bar. Yeah.
Mhm.
Need a drink. Well, thank
Too
you,
funny.
Ali, for doing this. Thank you, both Ali and Matthew, for contributing your stand-up expertise. I am happy to always have people more knowledgeable than myself. And this has been great. I hope we're able to do it again very, very soon.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come on board. Don't forget, follow me on Instagram, comedic actor, and TikTok. I need to get movies. A_Ali_Flores.
Okay, do it.
330,000 followers. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Wow.
Well, if my tens of listeners start following you, you're probably going to get a stand-up gig in front of a shimmer tinsel curtain in a Spencer's Gifts.
Yes, that's the dream.
Isn't it, though? Thank you, my dear. Again, smooches and goodbye. Mwah. And there you have it. That was Ali Flores. You can follow him on Instagram at Comedic Actor and on TikTok at Ali Flores. I'll post links in the show notes. And you can also see his movie, The Beach Bum, the one he was talking about with Zac Efron, Matthew McConaughey. It is available on Hulu. I took a quick skim of it, went through it. I did see Ali is in the movie, and it does look like it is pretty bad. So, yeah, if you've seen it or you do look at it, give a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. Now, a couple of extra points I didn't get to make. Number one, when Bobby first comes into the shop and Tootie is greeting him, Natalie is there too. Natalie's wearing a floral print shirt. It's pretty, it's nice. It's a kind of small, kind of busy pattern, doesn't really read from a distance. But when she walks over to the table where they're drinking the coffee, I was not prepared that Natalie's outfit also had matching parachute pants. Same fabric, the pants that have the crotch down at the knees. Yeah, 80s-tastic people, I urge you, if you haven't watched the episode yet, if you're going to, please make note of them. They are just insane and awesome. Also, did I emphasize that the Joe story of not being able to make cookies, that Blair gets roped into this B story, that we started with Joe can't make the cookies, and then it's like, oh, you wacky lesbian who can't bake, let me help you. And then it becomes Blair and Joe incapable of making a batch of fucking cookies. It was so crazy and stupid and annoying for a B story. Lastly, there is a joke that Bobby makes when he's first schmoozing Tootie, where she asks him if he wants more coffee, and he says, no, thank you. That's funny. He always has a second cup at home. Do you know what that reference is? That's a reference to a brand of coffee called Yuban coffee, as in Yuban, and it was a big commercial thing in the 70s. I grew up with it. It was everywhere. The whole thing of, do you want another cup of coffee at a party? And the husband says, yes, I will. And the wife looks at the camera, and you hear in a voiceover, Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. And the reason being is that, well, you make shitty coffee because you're a terrible housewife and therefore not a real woman. And it's not this Yuban coffee, which has great flavor and, genuine Colombian coffee beans and all that stuff. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you this because there is something funny here. That commercial was spoofed in the movie Airplane. 1980, the flight attendant asks, do you want more coffee? Wife says no. And the husband says, yes, I will. And then she looks at the camera and you hear, Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. Ha ha ha. Referential joke, humor, that's fine. Later, as the plane is starting to experience turbulence, the husband starts throwing up violently and loudly in his throw-up bag. And the follow-up callback to this joke is the wife looks at the camera and you hear, Jim never vomits when we're at home. I mean, funny, hilarious. I laughed at that in 1980 when I sat in the movie theater and watched Airplane. What I did not know, and what now, I was today years old when I discovered 41 years later. That actress is the same woman that was in the commercial. They cast it the same. Did not know that. Never got it. The reference, the joke was good enough. It could have been any actress who did it, but the extra layer of, oh my God, that's her. So I'm going to put videos of it up there, all on YouTube. I'm going to put them on the episode's webpage. And I'm aware I'm nerding out over a very teeny, minuscule thing, but you know that's my style. Anyway, I just wanted to share that, and it's very, very fun. And God knows what a trip down memory lane to look at those old coffee commercials. Man. Next week, we're going to be watching Season 7, Episode 17, called The Reunion. You can watch the show for free at dailymotion.com and on Pluto TV. I will post the links in the show notes and on this episode's webpage. And next week, we're going to be joined by Sarah French, returning to the podcast. Oh, such a funny gal. We had a blast. The show was recorded. It's not edited yet, but I am so looking forward to revisiting and reliving the time we had, and I can't wait for you to hear it too next week. In the meantime, thank you for listening to this week's show, and remember, the facts of life are all about you.
Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by the wonderful David Almeida. Our theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Please visit FaceTheFactsPod.com for supplemental photos and videos, links to social media, and ways that you can support the show. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This is Matthew Arder saying tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.